being a problem solver or a problem fixer is probably one of the most valued traits in today's world, right? If you were to ask on campus, um, what is an employer looking for in an employee, one of the top 3 to 5 things I guarantee would be, they're a self-starter, or they're a problem fixer, they're a problem solver, right? And so as our culture is pushing us in this direction of problem solving and fixing, where we have all this sense of control, we are now entering into a time and have already been a part of a time in which it feels like we have absolutely no control, right? And so as I've been reflecting on Easter this past weekend and on the crucifixion this past Friday, um, I couldn't help but think about the time in between the crucifixion and the resurrection of Jesus. You see, I think if we put ourselves in the shoes of the disciples, we'll find ourselves in actually kind of similar footing. Just like we had plans and purposes and dreams for this spring semester, and weddings and internships and study abroads, and so too the disciples had plans and dreams for Jesus as they entered into Jerusalem. Jesus was going to overthrow the Romans and restore Israel as a nation state, as it was in the time of David. As this mighty power. And for the disciples, all that was upended at the crucifixion. And even though Jesus had told them about the resurrection, they didn't understand it. And so for them, it was as if things really ended. And I think we find ourselves in that kind of similar position, where it feels like our plans and our dreams and our purposes for our lives and at least this time have been upended, and we just don't have control over what happens next. And here I think the Christian life offers us a beautiful practice, or maybe better put, a beautiful posture. And that is the posture of lament. Lament is not something we do much, and I think it's because, as I said at the beginning, right, we're just kind of ingrained to be problem solvers. But lament, coming from the lament Psalms and the book of Lamentations, is this Christian practice that moves us, as John Mark Hicks puts it, through the grief toward a confident hope in God. It takes time. It takes practice, that is. The practice of lament itself. We must take time to talk it out with God and in community. And so my encouragement to you this week is that you would spend time trying to enter into the posture of lament. That you would practice this posture by simply sitting with God and recognizing that you do not have the power to solve the problems at hand. That you would sit in front of God, recognizing that you do not have the power to solve the problems at hand, and understand both his transcendence and immanence, that God is bigger than anything we can imagine, but is also more personal than anything we can imagine. That he is beyond our comprehension, but yet knows each one of the hairs on our head. And as you sit through that in the recognition of that, as you sit in your confusion and chaos and pain and loneliness and lay it before God in front of his transcendence and immanence, I think God will move in new and fresh ways in your life. We don't have to know how it's going to happen. We don't have to know exactly what the outcome is going to be. We just have to expect to come before God humbly, knowing we don't have the power right now, and expect him to move. Grapple with the question why. Grapple with the question how. Grapple with the question of what's next with God over the next week. Take time out of each day, even just 5 to 10 minutes, and do this. And see if God doesn't move in new and fresh ways in your life. I hope this message finds you well, and we'll see you tomorrow for Connect.